Asenivusele maswahla amahle senivusele nine benkosilenhle ehlelweni Embili kanye sithemba ukuthi niphilile maswahla kithi kuphina kuphi lapho ke umsakazo unithola khona kulolu hlelo benkosilenhle sikhulumisa ke indaba ukuthi emaswati angaya njani ke Embili kodwa ke akungabi phela ngilinye leswati leliya ke Embili lodvana sithi awu nangu Phirezi uyashishimba bekunene ngabe yena yedvana wendangani kungawo sithi ke ehlelweni Embili kanye isifiso sethu siluhlelo ukuthi ke sibone ke onke ke emaswati akhona ke thuthuka esigabeni letahlukahlukene siyathi ukuthi emaswati anema interest lahlukahlukene noma ke tifiso letahlukahlukene kunemaswati lana tifiso ke tekulima ukuthi uyathi mangingafilima la ngomhlaba ukhona ngidaseke ngiyakhona ukuthengisa, which is where we come in sikhulumise ke labo kumbe uhulumende la kabathume ukuthi emaswati lafisa kulima letilimo besathi thengisa kuphi ngiyabekisa kunemaswati lana sifiso ke sekufunza ukuthi uyathi ngiyafuna ukuthi ngifunze ngigcine ke ngifike ke esigabeni lesithide si provide lawo ma platforms nema engagements ukuthi ke labo bantwana noma ke labo labana letifiso tekufunza bakhona ke kuthola ke leyo support, leyo guidance, leyo motivation, leyo inspiration even to the point of ama resources kuletinye ke tikhathi nema openings kumbe leswa creator ngekuthi emaswati ngiyabekisa la ngafisa ke kuyothekela lwati ngeshaya kwetilwandle abuye ke ekhaya sekade awukhona ukuthi alekelele ke live ukuthi likwati ke kufunza naletinye nje tinhlangothi emaswati lamahle ikakhulu kade etinzabeni tekuthuthukisa emabhizinisi siyathi ukuthi akusi wonke umuntu lo semsebentini lo sebendako lothola ke imali kupheleni ke kwenyanga manje ndi kakhulu emaswati la ngasebenzi kodwa lathi sebendako manje ndi kakhulu ke emaswati laqale ke emabhizinisi laqashe ke lamanye ke emaswati sifiso sethu ngilokuthi ke futhi angathi bekangaba manyenti kakhulu lamabhizinisi latawukhona kuabsorba emaswati lahleli angasebenzi mawubuka ke i-unemployment rate yelive laseSwatini uyabona lokuthi sinemsebenzi lomkhulu wekulekelelana singema stakeholders including us as broadcasters kwekuthi sithi khulumise letindzaba ngekubita ke ama stakeholders latawukhona lokuthi endele environment ukuthi ivume lokuthi lona liphupho lecala ke ibusiness lona liphupho lekulima akwadi ukuthi lowo msebenzi awende njengoba ke emaswati atawusitakala ke abe manenge silapho nje emaswati lamahle ikakhulu kade ke kucala ke umnyaka sikhuthata kona lokho ukuthi letindzaba letingathi kumbe tihambelana nema short to long or medium term goals bantu bawakhako ke makusacala ke umnyaka singatikhulumisa makusacala ke umnyaka sinikede ke i-direction encouragement noma kumbe kukhuthata kulabo labathi uyathi ibusiness yami solo imenza wonye and the main challenge for instance i-challenge ye-finance evenda kangwane. How do we deal with those issues as a country? I think we need to get to a point where some of these issues siyatikhulumisa sigcina sendlulile ekukhulumeni sibone lama results etinkhulumo lesitibambako ikakhulu kade ke kuma platforms afana nehlelo Embili kanye ngethemba ukuthi niphilile bekunene nalamhla ke sitabeke sikhulumisa indzaba letifaka ikhathi leto tindzaba ikakhulu kati namuhla sifuna ke ukukhulumisa indzaba ye ku confronta the SME finance challenge in the Kingdom of Eswatini eminyakeni wanga 2022 siyathi ukuthi manenge emaswati lafisa ke lokucala ke emabhizinisi lamanye futhi awaqalile kodwa amile emenza wonye akakhulu lawo mabhizinisi lawo mawuthi uyakhulukhuluma nemaswati uyakhanza ukuthi inkinga imali yekuhlanyela la businessini kuze ukuthi itawukwati ke kukhula. What are the challenges ekucala noma ke kuthola ke leyo mali ukuthi emaswati akwadi ke kucinisa nekukhulisa ke lawo mabhizinisi kuyinto lebhlungu maswati lamahle njengoba lamanye lama ideas lawa uyabona ukuthi available noma kumbe bekangawuletha umthelela lomuhle emnothweni welive la kangwane kodwa ke ukhanza ukuthi sekunaleyo challenge ukuthi atitholakali lula leto timali nalapho bedingatholakala khona ukhanza ukuthi emaswati ede kahle lobuciko bekuthi leti mali angatithola njani kuniketa ke icomfort yaloyo ke lo ikhiphako leyo mali leyo sikhulumisa leyo ndzaba maswati lamahle ukuthi singalwa njani nale ngcinamba noma nale insaya ukuthi imali finance emabhizinisi evenda kangwane ingatholakali kalula ngiceleke la longumcondzisi ke welhovisi libukeke ke ukuthuthukisa ke emabhizinisi lamancane ekhaya eSwatini umeluleki Dlamini kuthi ayikhulumisa lenzaba kubuka ukuthi ngabe yini uhulumende lekangasita ngako yini ama stakeholders lekangasibambisa ngako. We know the government of Eswatini has created a lot of collaborative partnerships with the private sector and the public sector to try and capacitate emaswati and the other stakeholders to say how can we work together to improve the environment of SME finance in the Kingdom of Eswatini. Kanti ke sitaphenze ke sibe naye la Dr. Chongwa longiyena ke akhulumisa kakhulu ke tindzaba tekwelekelela ukuthi labo ke labafisa ke kucala ke emabhizinisi noma la sebawaqalile bangawakhulisa njani bangawadraw njani ama business plans naleyo mentorship etindzabeni ke dawo ke emabhizinisi Dlamini wekunene angikubingelele Nkosi ngikuphela ithuba lekuvusela emaswati.
Siyabonga Phirezi sivusele emaswati onke veni eminyakeni lomusha wa 2022.
kunjalo Nkosi sikhuluma ngathi sifuna ukukhulumisa indzaba yema SMEs la kodwa sikhulumisa indzaba yokuthuthuka kwelive mangabe bonganaka and I think I did mention nasevikini eliphelile kulolu hlelo kwekuthi esikhathini lesiningi makucala umnyaka you sit down as an individual uthi uyathi ngifuna kwenda 949 and some of those goals may look like they are personal goals but it is a personal goal but it is attached to other people's lives ngiyabekisa nje ngenza bayicala ibusiness uthi yathi ngifuna kuyikhulisa ngiyiqinisa le business but ultimately you are helping your community, you are helping the kingdom of Eswatini. It is a critical time because ukuthi siyishape kahle i-direction yethu sibo somabhizinisi makucala lo mnyaka, which is why I have invited you also in this program.
Yes, no, thank you very much, Perez. Ngicabanga ukuthi vele kuba involved lenhle kakhulu nakasacala nje umnyaka ukhanze ukuthi ngusomabhizinisi nawo or as an individual ukhona ukuhlela lokuthi lo mnyaka ucabanga lokuthi nawubuka ufuna ubuphela ubheke phi noma uachieve ini kahle kahle ke business kubalula ngoba kunale business plan lwase nawucala nawusebenta uya kuleli business lelo luhlaka lavele labakhona nanyalo ke sesikhathi sokuthi uhambe uyolibuka lokuthi lingibhekisaphi ukuthi leli business lami kundlondlobala kwalo in years to come kufunele hambe kumuphi kuyiphi indlela so ke ngicabanga ukuthi into lenhle bosomabhizinisi lokho la kungafuna vele kucala umnyaka bakusukumele bahamba vele baku-approach bakusebente masinyane
noma licwaningo Nkosi ngeke nginikede ama-statistics lacacako kodwa nje emaswati anawo lamabhizinisi from your informal sector to those that are really small scale business to medium scale businesses akhona namabhizinisi laSwatini ngiyakhumbula nje ingwenyama ikhuluma kulomunye umnyaka ngiyabona kumbe kwaklonyeliswa ku-Entrepreneur of the Year Award ithi inalesifiso sekuthi ingazuthi lamabhizinisi lesithi namhla angema small scale or medium scale businesses kungagcina kungamabhizinisi latawugcina kungamabhizinisi la producer billionaires for the kingdom of Eswatini, for Africa and for the world. And obviously we have seen this happening in other countries, which is where I think the inspiration for His Majesty came from. You know, and I think this also speaks to the importance of growing, of capacitating the sector yema SMEs Nkosi.
Yes, no, that's true, Perez. Lokuthi cha inombolo vele tikhona. Nasibuka nje nyalo we've got around 60,000 wema SMEs in the country ku-Finscope survey leyenziwa nga-2018. Sicaleka ukuthi lo mnyaka nje sitabe senda lenye. Ngicabanga ukuthi dasiniketa the latest figures. Iyakhomba ke vele lokuthi insight esekhona lokuthi lama businesses are increase ngoba now ubuka nje nalokuthi employer about 90,000 webantu which is basically a quarter of the labor force lekhona even so nasingachubeka sinyuse leti nombolo talama SMEs ungakhanza kokuthi nabo sewukhanza ukuthi their percentage is quite high kule ratio ye labor force in the country so ngicabanga ukuthi lokho vele into lekufune siyisukumele etulu khona itawukhona lokuthi address lama issues abo poverty nabo unemployment singabe solo sicabanga ukuthi yey kuti imisebenzi but abantu bayakhona kuphila bakhona lokutisita lokho kutawuhambisana vele nalokuthi kufunakala ukuthi sisukume sibuke lama initiatives la khona eveni siwathathe those opportunities siwasebenzise to the best of our advantage.
Are we making positive strides in Nkosi ngaloku ukuthi njengoba ngibekisa lokho ukuthi it was about 4-5 years ago when His Majesty made this remark lihambelana nekwekuthi masingadimisela sifake emandla ngekweliciniso singawakhipha lama millionaires lama billionaires you know njengoba ngibuta mawubuka kumbe say from 10 years ago to where we are right now, are we making positive developments in the area of capacitating, of growing the SME sector, and not just to say we want these people to enjoy the millions they are making, but I know the spillovers, you know, from within the entire value chain, the SME sector, the tax revenues and everything that the employment opportunities, you know. Can we say we are accounting for all those benefits from within the SME pool?
Yes, indeed, it's true. We've seen improvement in terms of the numbers. Kukhona a survey that was done in 2010 in my business. Basically, just about 20,000 businesses.
In 2010?
In 2010. So when you look at the Finscope of 2018, it's now giving you a figure about around 60,000. So you can see that over the years there's been some growth in terms of more business, people going to business, starting their businesses, and bakule growth potential level, which basically akusasiwe ama-businesses lesithi nje ama-survivalist nginanga lesithi nanga sebenzisa ama-business plan ngoba khona umuntu wayebhizinisini nje ukhanze ukuthi uyathengisa udlela emlonyeni. So kukhanze ukuthi konke kuphelela lapho nyalo we're seeing more and more of them going into business ahamba yabhanga and my financial statements. So there are now more and more businesses that are being formalized, and sisitwa ke ngilokuthi lamanye vele nakufunakala ukuthi asitakale ngetimali ke kufunakala those financial documents. So ke lokho sekubendela ke lokuthi they now do their business professionally than previously whereby nje umuntu beka kusebenda nje kungathi into nje lekungasiko ukuthi itawuqhubekele Embili. So that has shown ukuthi the entrepreneurship culture has now been developed in the country, so we need to nurture it bese siyayigrow.
Ngiyabona Nkosi. Ngiyathanda ukuthi uveta na indzaba nayi, and I think I will ask this question because Dr. Chongwa is already here, and I think he will help us to understand what we mean by this type of businesses or this type of mentality in business, the ones you call survivalist. And I know a lot of them are probably the ones, they don't even know that they fall within that category of survivalist, you know. And you were also mentioning the fact that there are these type of businesses who run their businesses according to the blueprint, which is the business plan. You know, they do everything by the book, which is why I think they probably even get support from stakeholders, including financial institutions. But when we talk about survivalist, which is why I think we're having this conversation today, we are trying to move them to a certain direction that will realize growth for them and for the country as well.
Yes, definitely, yes. A survivalist business, it's one of those businesses who normally see an opportunity anywhere, and then they just follow that opportunity, go good, so how can they exploit it? Immediately, a change in the market, they just switch from there and follow the next one. So there is no predictability in terms of how their businesses will then continue to exist. Yet those businesses learn a blueprint. You guaranteed you need to maximize your sales and start marketing ganjena, and also have the business yako. A growth path yakona is well defined when you have a blueprint, as opposed to like survivalist. I will shift all my resources army to matamatis. Then that is how they make their businesses and they live ganjalo.
They basically cannot grow as an entity to the point where they probably even employ people, they can contribute to other sectors of the economy.
The potential is there. They need some nurturing. But trainings, and once they are better trained, they now see their businesses need to operate in a fashion well defined in terms of the growth path. Because the entrepreneurship culture business, so it is just nurturing it, basically refocus. This is how it's supposed to be done in the business. Trainings and all of this. Business, I realize the potential of the business so that it will grow.
Yeah. Siyabonga Nkosi, nginaye ke Dr. Chongwa la start nje kunyamathe kafishane bese ke sibuya sichubeka nayo ke inkulumo yethu. Ikakhulukazi ke ngicela lokucela lokuthi ngiyathi ukuthi esikhathini lesiningi mase uyiqalile ibusiness kumbe so uyakhaya khana leyo mali uva ngazi ukuthi awulidzingi lwadi kodwa liqiniso lithi lama discussions la njengalawa ayakhona ku stimulate interest for self development and to see where you are lacking, what you can do to take your business from one level to the other. And the intention is to help those who are unemployed to be absorbed by your business, but also to say to other people who are starting their businesses, if so and so did it, I can also do it, following the methods, the processes that they also took or that they can also follow to grow their own businesses.
Travel, play and inspire. The all-new season of Buhle Bethu is back on your screens with your girl, Nombumelelo Dlamini. Of course, we have a new face in our team, the ever so cheerful Neliswa.
That's right, Bhumi. This new face is ready for fun and adventure in the beautiful kingdom of Eswatini. I'm so excited to be part of this show in this season. We are the squad that is ready to travel and explore safely in this new normal, the COVID-19 era.
That's right. Don't forget to post your pictures on your social media pages and tag us. Who knows, we might just join you on your next trip.
Join us and be part of the Buhle Bethu squad as we travel, play and inspire every Saturday exclusive to Eswatini TV.
You can watch the latest episodes of the show on YouTube or download the Eswatini TV app to keep up to date.
chocolate. No, so one chicken and love and love bongos.
Usafaka 20 rand.
Kutemnethu mani ngathi
Lo gift edike ukusebenzisa utakhonza uphila ubeke singwa etafuleni.
Mina sengimelele umngane wami bese sihamba sophanda.
Shemu ngichashe maye mahle ebonini.
Ngafuna ukuthi le project ingawa ngikhona nami ngoba angisiwe umuntu othanda ukuthi info ingafa ngikhona. Kule life lesiyakiyo umuntu ngangemuntu kuyafuna at least abe nawo 3 ma skills in life.
Mina ngibonga kakhulu ngoba so ngatsala kusebenza lo msebenzi abadinga ngisupport labantu.
Pay your TV license quickly and easily with MTN Momo. Simply dial *007 *3 hash and select option 8 for TV license. Enter your national ID number as your reference and the amount you wish to pay. Then enter your PIN to confirm your payment. Once your payment has been made, you'll receive a confirmation SMS of your payment. If you're a first-time payer, you get another SMS for your TV license. So legalize your entertainment from the comfort of your home. Pay your TV license the easy and convenient way with MTN Momo.
Everywhere you go, MTN.
Hello, friends. My name is Pookie Panda. Welcome to Season 2, which is packed with lots of fun. We will bake, learn, sing, and make lots of creative things with paper and dough. Join me every week as we go on an adventure to different places. See you soon, my little friends.
Sibuyele kahlelweni Embili kanye sikhulumisa ke indzaba yokuthi ingabe lamabhizinisi ethu siyawethwala madima kuze kube nginini. Ngiwabonile amaswati lamanyenti aliphethe order umuntu esandleni so ude imali yokufinance li order kumbe lebe lingamthatha limkhuphule limbeke kulesinye isigaba nokhanze ukuthi unayo nale business plan I challenge lenkulu I capital so ude imali wehla uyenyuka ushaya incingo mzala ngabe ungangiboleka yini 5000 ngitholela order lana mzala yathi ngina 20 ngitholela order la 20000. Those are the challenges that business people go through, and they have opportunities. They could be supplying at a larger scale, but they are not because of challenges of financing their businesses. We know that when you start a business, most of the time, you come from the position of the idea that you have to say ade ngibona nalithuba nali ngingakwenda kwekuthi lapha noma ngabe ngiyabekisa ufuna kubhaka emafethi unemali yokuthenga flower munye mase uthi uyafika lapha egonrakini ukhanza ukuthi kuthengeka libhakede i25 liter lapha so uyithatha phi le mali ya flower. And I think these are the challenges that we are trying to have a discussion about today, to say what can we do as Eswatini to help those people who have got dreams and business ideas that are viable, could help Eswatini to generate employment opportunities. Dr. Chongwa, welcome, and thank you for joining us in this program today. May I also wish you a Happy New Year.
Thank you so much, John, and a Happy New Year, dear viewers.
Yeah, I have called you Dr. Chongwa because I know you as a specialist, as a man with passion for growing and helping those who are in business to grow their businesses, to do things by the book, and just basically to mentor people up around issues of money. We have this discussion today, confronting the SME finance challenge in the Kingdom of Eswatini. Is this topic fabricated, Dr. Chongwa, or according to what you do as Safred, have you seen what I am talking about in terms of the challenges that small business people and medium-scale businesses face in the Kingdom of Eswatini?
Yes, it's a true issue. It's a realistic issue to talk about, and it's very fundamental, because without money, whether at small or medium or large business scale, you cannot operate competitively, even sustainably. So the issues of funding is crucial. It begins and ends with funding.
It begins and ends with funding. Yeah. Like I'm saying, Dr. How can we confront this challenge? And I think the key question for me, where do we start? Both from a policy level, from an institutional level, and from those seeking the finance, what do we need to do?
Well, it is an integrated social economic issue. Why am I saying it's an integrated? Because it does not operate in isolation. Government is involved, private sector is involved, and also the what we call the state actors, like the NGOs, are also involved. So it's an integrated framework of which we cannot simply say it's government's business or the others people's business. So in this case, an integrated way of operation is the most strategic one. That is why, for example, you know, a central bank comes up with a guarantee scheme. That is basically a guarantee scheme to say, us as central bank, we are ready to push this far, provided ABC conditions are met. So it's a guarantee made on condition, meaning the other players must be able to explore and make best use of those particular prevailing conditions. So that is where the most challenge comes in. So SMEs, most of them, especially at grassroots and medium level, they fail to meet those conditions.
The SMEs?
Yes.
Okay.
Due to various reasons, of course. But one of the biggest reasons, of course, like you stated, is paperwork. They don't understand how the system works. Then they usually come up to say there is no capital. Otherwise, capital is more than there. The private sector, the banking sector and the financing sector in the private scheme, they are very much concerned with the issues of risk and sustainability. And these elements of risk and sustainability on money, which is funding businesses, is because money in an economy, if you look at monetary policies, money is an economic asset. And anybody who is very careless with this economic asset cannot have the privilege to enjoy its value. That is why you see there's a big division between large businesses and small businesses. Large businesses, they hire experts. They get the best financial advice, business advisory services, because the issue is money. So when they go to the banking sector, they speak the same language. And the banks, they are the custodians of money. Their stock is money. They make profit out of money. They make loss out of money. So banks, they see money as more than an economic asset. So if you go to the bank and you don't speak the language of the bank will consider you as a risk. So you should, first of all, re-engineer yourself. Prove to the bank that my business plan and my business proposal basically has a a multiplicative effect of which the bank will benefit, I will benefit, and the society will benefit, and the bank will the government will benefit through taxes and other revenues.
Yeah, and maybe just to cut you a little bit short, so the narrative that prevails to the effect that banks are reluctant to lend money is not a sustainable one, not because banks are just reluctant because they don't want to give out money. It's because of the issues of the terms and conditions you're speaking about.
No, banks want to give out money.
They do want to give out money.
They are very desperate to give out money.
Okay.
Because money in circulation creates profit to the bank. It creates profit to the government. It creates profit also to the society. And banks are intermediaries in the circular flow of income. So banks, they're really looking out there for sustainable, reliable, and well-informed business partners to fund.
Of course. Maybe we will help them, those seeking funding, Dr. Chonga,
Yes.
to say, how can I re-engineer my approach, my mentality? But in Dr. Chonga, and I think the first one is the involvement of government in terms of making sure we create a conducive environment that will help these businesses, you know. Maybe let us first talk about what we are doing probably at a grassroots level, you know. I don't know if your office or even the ministry itself, which is the Ministry of Commerce, Industry and Trade, is having an integrated interaction or one that's meant for integrated interaction between the Ministry of Education and other stakeholders, you know. Because labantwana labasesikolweni namuhla babedlamini ngulaba kusasa loyawukhanza ukuthi baphasile kumbe bende kahle abakaphasi sebeva ngazuthi yathi angicala ibusiness. And I think when we talk about this survivalist, if you study carefully, you will find that most of them, they are the ones that did not do well at school, or they are the ones that are driven by passion to start these businesses, you know. Are they learning these fundamentals of business at school? Is there an engagement? I know that there are business studies at school, but do they really speak to the needs of the market in terms of business finance and all these other things? Because ukhanza umuntu vele sekaxakekile ukhanza ukuthi akathi nalo kwekuthi manje makukhuluma ngale business plan kukhulunywa ngani uba frustrated abanginiki ngani manje ngoba bayalibona leli order. Ngiyabekisa, you know, and ngiyabatshela ngithi bayayifuna le tinto kuphi kuphi, you know. But what are we doing at that grassroots level from a curriculum perspective, you know? Have we integrated ourselves in that regard?
No, thank you very much, John. On that aspect, the ministry is working with the junior achievement in terms of ensuring that the entrepreneurship culture is well distributed, I would say, in terms of the engagement at school level. So how we do that, they do also financial literacy for those that are in school and also out of school programs that are being done by junior achievement. So basically I would say that in terms of preparing the young ones in terms of being into business, we've done quite well. Over the years we've been subventing junior achievement to
for the purpose
for
of
the
making
purposes
sure.
of making sure that those programs are rolled out at schools. And also we have tertiary level, we've got enactors that also basically does the same in terms of ensuring that there is that culture of entrepreneurship at tertiary level. Then all those, they also go for competitions and all of those. So those are all the initiatives that as government we are saying we are partnering with other stakeholders to deliver in the mandate. So then it comes into, I will come back to the point whereby I was saying the issue of the guarantees. So we've now said, let us not have the guarantees only for commercial banks, but let's also include the non-banking financial institutions, which are your youth enterprise revolving fund. So now when a youth applies for a loan under that facility, the fund, they can now guarantee it, and the terms are more favorable now. Instead of the 95% initially for businesses, now we're saying 98%. Then that particular applicant will then have to just bring the 2% so that they show their commitment to that initiative. So basically we've seen that our orientation is more youth focused, because as you stated that they will go to school and after school what, then as we are saying that if we want the entrepreneurship culture, we will then have to focus into the youth, because they've got that potential to also start those businesses that will contribute to the economy and address quite a number of social ills in the country.
I think as we are sitting here, we all need to be honest and open about the challenges that we are facing. I want to get it from you, Director. What do you think is the challenge? Well, I know that from the year 1990, the loan guarantee scheme was already introduced by government for the purposes of creating appetite even for banks themselves to lend and for giving confidence to those seeking funding that I don't have collateral, but government has provided this kind of facility, which makes my job easier, you know. But nevertheless, we haven't made significant strides towards making sure that these businesses, you know, find the comfort both from what government's intention was when they created the loan guarantee scheme, you know. What do you think are some of these challenges? Because I think, as I said to you, the topic here today is confronting these challenges to say we need to come face to face with them and deal with them, find solutions. It may not be today, but we need to get to a point where we are saying we all understand the nature of these challenges and we need to deal with them.
Yeah. No, that's true, Paris, that we are confronted by challenges in terms of, I think Dr. Chonga just summed it very well, that banks are willing to finance, but the issue now is, are these applicants or the potential MSMEs able to meet, or are they speaking their language? If immediately they don't speak that language, then there's a risk element. So, because if businesses just approach the bank without a viable business plan, I doubt that any assistance can be forthcoming.
Despite the availability of the loan guarantee scheme?
Yes, because the guarantee is at a second level. So you just have to get that loan first. That has been approved by the bank to say this is a viable business. Then after that, you're saying issues of collateral are a challenge.
The question comes, Nkosi, bayisabani lokunginika le mali ngoba uhulumende wayikhipha imali ukuthi mangihluleka utayibhadala le mali. Seyani le mali mayihleti lapha because uthi uhulumende mnikeni if this business fails. I don't know if that was the strategic approach from government to say banikeni bazame mabehluleka sitawuya lapha Central Bank silanze khona siniketele lo mbolekile le mali. Was this loan guarantee scheme created for that? Because I think like we are also, by confronting the challenge, we are also trying to confront the mindset issues around how Eswatini or the business people think.
Definitely, yes, but the bank cannot issue a non-viable business loan because they will have to justify it when they need the guarantee. So immediately when they submit the documents for the guarantee and they are submitting a non-viable business, so obviously Central Bank will be saying, no,
that's a non-starter.
That's a non-starter because you are saying that we are funding it from a guarantee. Because it will be like that. You are saying you are giving them just to go and fail, then after that, then we pay it. No. The terms are very, very clear that only viable businesses are guaranteed under the scheme. So basically, even defaults, they have to prove what was the challenge in terms of was the business maybe, if I think in future we'll now be going into business rescues as a country if that program can start, because you find that a business can be saved, but you could, the same directors continue with the business until it collapses. But if it can be handed over to others, most probably it can be revived.
Yeah. Dr. Chonga, we need these businesses to be financed. Like you said, banks are willing to give out money, but like the director is already saying, they cannot give or fund businesses which are non-viable, which are non-starters, you know. Is business for everyone, Dr. Chongwa? Because I don't know how people get into business, you know. Running a business is not child's play, you know. But I just want to get it from you. If I do the things that experts say I must do, will I be able to run a business? Is running a business for everybody? Because I think this question answers, speaks to a very important problem in our business community. The mere fact that someone has identified an opportunity and they want to go to a bank to get finance, you know, who needs to get involved in business? After what processes have they followed that then maybe they can go into business?
First things first, we need to understand that we are looking at challenges here. In as much as we are going to come to your question to say who should do business. Business, it is simply a commercial, social commercial entity of which any person can start a business, provided certain specific conditions are met. Now, one biggest challenge that I wish to bring to your attention, why banks and other funding institutions remain reluctant, it is the issue of sustainability, and in economics we call it arithmetic information. Arithmetic information is when you are looking for money at the bank, we are the bank, and you are the potential client, but you are not disclosing all the necessary information that will make us as a bank to develop a policy which is going to benefit you. That's arithmetic information. Now, usually that creates what we call social hazards in the economy. That is why banks now decide to say, due to high default rate, like the director has said, we would rather keep our money or not involved in these applications. Now, what am I trying to say? This brings us to another important challenge, which SMEs must take seriously. They like to operate in isolation. You want to be the director, you want to be everyone alone in a business. Businesses don't succeed like that. Create a cooperation. Create a small board of directors, not whom you are going to appoint to say this one and this one. No, no, no. Who are coming on the grounds of credibility. Let me give you a small example. You know Steve Jobs, the founder of Apple. Steve Jobs came up with Apple, but the bank advised him to say, go and form a board. We cannot help you alone. So he formed a board. But surprisingly, the people whom he brought on board, they were so credible, they knew their business. Then Steve Jobs became playful. Because every SME has got a challenge or a temptation to compromise the business standards. That's why they fail, most of them. Just a little money increase, they are buying BMWs, Mercedes-Benz, they think they have already reached. And yet business is not like that. So Steve Jobs compromised the standards. Then the board fired him from his own business. He couldn't believe it. He ran to court. The court says, no, 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 go and handle this issue to yourselves. The board says, listen, we cannot tolerate the way you are behaving. It will cost the business. So Steve Jobs went back to the board and apologized. Then they brought him in. That is how Apple is successful today.
Yeah. They grew from that kind of reprimandation that he got.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say is this. When I was studying the Asian business model vis-a-vis African business model, I discovered one important thing that I wish to share to you. Asians are successful because they work as a corporation. They create a signage within the business. Everyone is a stakeholder, is a stockholder at the same time. The business is everyone's business. I'm not coming in as an employee. I'm coming in as a stakeholder and as a stockholder at the same time. So you find that if I die...
You have a share in the business.
Yes. I die, I get sick, I compromise the standards because I'm a human being. Others, they uplift the values of the business. That is called sustainability at corporate level. African businesses, on the other hand, it's George alone. It's my business. If I die, we see businesses dying also. If I get sick, we see business dying, getting sick also. Yeah. So
if I misbehave in the business, it collapses. No one is there to talk to me to say, you can't do this because you are affecting all of us.
Exactly. Then number two, finally, on the government's perspective, I'm happy that the director is here. I'm happy that government has taken serious trends, especially to nurture the youth. It's a very, very positive development. We have seen the Youth Enterprise Fund is sustainable, it's moving, disciplining those who are not following the conditions. We have seen junior achievers. Almost every school has a program. This is a very good investment for the future. We need also to bring in a missing middle. The missing middle is a gray area which transits now from the school structural way of doing things into the real life situation. And this is called incubation. In the incubation there, for a framework, we can do what we call shepherding. You appoint a qualified, 2 or 3 qualified people to shepherd the business. They are there as watchdogs, custodians, to shepherd the business until a business is surrendered at a certain level, where that business, by default, it must have independent board of directors. So that I don't say it's mine. It's my idea, yes, but it is under the custodian of qualified, capacitated professionals.
Yeah.
So shepherding is very, very important. And I think, like it happened to Nigerian economy. World Bank went to Nigeria, they did a study, and shepherding started happening in Nigeria. That's why, is it Emelu?
Emelu Foundation.
Yes. All what that foundation is all about is shepherding.
Yeah. Are you saying a business entity is also a social entity? Because, like you were saying, if I start this business, I look at this business as my business. But I think I hear you say a business belongs to the community.
Yes, to a society, actually.
To the society.
It's a social economic entity. So if we bring in the shepherding model, we shall corner you to say, listen, this business was funded by government. It was funded by public funds. And public funds, they are there for the interest of the masses who are not employed. So let's create a policy, a system, a structure, so that this fund, which the business government has funded, it has got a multiplier effect.
Yeah.
So what are we doing? We are transferring skill. We are also creating income. And once we spur income, we are spurring consumption. Once we increase consumption, we are increasing production. And marginal productivity is called export. At the end of the day, Eswatini will fly and become competitive.
Yeah. Director, singabakhomba kuphi laba nale challenge bayeva lokuthi uyate ebhange ngeke uye uyochance. I think isikhuluma lokho la namuhla lokho ukuthi nalamabhange lesithi akafuni ukukhipha imali akusiki ukuthi akafuni. They know their business, they know what sustains, what anchors their businesses. Singabakhomba kuphi, and I know some of these state-owned enterprises are under your ministry, which is the Ministry of Commerce, Industry and Trade. I think people need to be serious, and I think they need to make the intentional effort to get the knowledge that our stakeholders, including these private finance institutions, the confidence to say, I think you know what you are doing. What can this young person do? What can this potential business person do? Or even the ones that have been stagnant in business for so long, where can they go to get help, to get capacitated, so that when they approach a financial institution, they can be listened to?
Yeah, no, thanks, Perez, on that one. I think it's very clear that they really need to seek assistance. We've got our SEDCO, Enterprise Development Company, that has programs that have been designed to assist startup businesses or businesses that are already existing with sort of quite a number of business development services that are basically being provided. So it's just about not even SEDCO alone. There are other business development service providers that are private, so they can approach them so that they can get that assistance before they can even say, I need financing for this particular project, because it should not be the other way around. We should not start by getting the funding, then you say, how do I manage the funds? So be prepared to manage the business before you can even get the financing coming up. So that is why when we're relaunching the guarantee schemes, majority of the non-bank financial institutions, also the commercial banks, in their statements, they were saying this is not to say that now you can come to the banks to collect loans because the guarantees are now have been relaunched with new conditions and the rest. It is saying now it's the time for you to go and prepare yourselves to be ready to receive these funds so that you can go into business and your business prosper in that regard.
I think this is the first of many conversations we need to have, you know, to try and challenge stakeholders to do things the right way. And I believe that the more we have these conversations, the more a group of people will change, will take the information we are giving them and run with it. Dr. Chongwa, thank you so much. Like I I'm saying this is the first of many discussions that I want to be having with people of your caliber, just to try and help Eswatini to move into the right direction. Nagiwe Eswatini, I feel like we are delaying, we are prolonging the labor pains because we are starting the businesses, we want funding, but we do not have the capacity. How about we get the capacity first, and then we go to the banks, and then ultimately, I'm sure we can see the results. So we are stuck where we are because we are saying banks are not giving us the money, but we do not have the capacity to contain the funds, to administrate the funds, you know. And I think we need to change things or turn things around a little bit in 2022 and see if we are not going to get better results. Sibongile Maswati amahle Jehova kasigcine ke sibonane ngalokudako evikini lelitako siphilile. Nitsale kahle.